Hey there, good afternoon, good day, all of my Carter Cougar families. Mr. Williams here for all of my new incoming families and our kindergartners. I am the principal here at Carter Elementary School. For everybody else, man, it sure is nice to see you virtually. We miss you. We've been really working hard to try to figure all this stuff out. I have purposely not sent a couple of videos just to let everybody get the feet on the ground, not to overwhelm. But here we are 3 days in. We have survived the first 3 days of distance learning and not without challenges, right? Whether Wednesday was quite an ordeal with everything else and the IBOS and all the different error messages and things not working. But our district was quickly able to kind of get on top of some of that stuff and correct it. Yesterday was a better day. Today seems to be an even better day, and we are learning every day. Every time I talk to the teachers, we are learning different ways of doing different strategies, different things. So we will get better at this and we will figure this out. I have a couple of things I just wanted to talk to you guys about, just to share a little bit about what to expect as we move forward with some of this. And I'm not going to get into whether or not our school is going to reopen or not, because quite honestly, I don't have control over that. If I could, I would open school up today. I sure do miss having your students here at school. I want to make sure that we can do it safely, though, and the county is going to dictate all of that. But bottom line is, I can tell you that our teachers would rather have their students here. There's nothing better than, that's why we all got into this profession. So we'll work through it. Moving forward, guys, in this distance learning format, distance learning basically just means that we are learning from a distance. So we're doing everything through, through emails, through Zoom meetings, through Google Classroom or Seesaw or something along those lines. And but the expectation for us is that as teachers, we are coming and putting forward and planning some really rigorous activities. Nothing like what we did last year when we just kind of, things shut down very, very quickly. We had to learn on the fly, and it was just like, hey, let's try some of this on, let's see some. There were some really good lessons to be had from the way that last year transpired. But this year we knew that we had to, raise the bar, so to speak. We really needed to go after it. So teachers are planning some really rigorous lessons. We want to make sure that our kids are getting everything that they need. Now, that said, I'm going to tell you some of our focus right now. We know some of our kids are going to come in with some challenges or even some gaps with the way that things have shut down, learning gaps, social emotional gaps, all kinds of different things. So our message is to teachers, and what we're going to be really focusing on for our little ones, TKK, first grade, second grade, we're like ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. And I know that that's very simplified, but we've got to get a solid foundation in. There's a lot of stuff that goes with the California curriculum. If you look at all of the different standards that go with it, I think there's, if we were to teach every standard to mastery, from kindergarten through 12th grade, it would take about 27 years. So we know that we've got to find, to kind of narrow in and go after the basics. So our little ones, we're really going to be doing a lot of that, what we call foundational skills. In TK and K, it's really like, oh, that's a letter. A letter has a sound. When you put multiple sounds together, it makes a word. And then before you know it, we'll have these kids reading. First grade, right? Read, read, read. So that's our focus really for those lower grades. Fill those gaps, understand what they're doing as we move forward so that we know how to best guide our instruction to create plans about what our kids know, and then having small groups and everything else that goes along with that so that we can truly meet the needs of kids. So that's what you can see moving forward in the little grades. Upper grades, we're going to go after it. We still have identified last year what we called essential standards. Standards that we feel were kind of non-negotiables. For you won't leave fourth grade without knowing how to compare and contrast using 2 or 3 different sources. There is, again, another 180 something standards for each grade level. Right now, we want to go after the ones that we know are must-haves. I call the other ones nice to know standards, right? There's a lot of those where, Roman numerals, yeah, they're important, but honestly, more important than knowing some of my math facts, Roman numerals are nice to know. And there are people out there that are going to be hating on me for saying that, and, don't get mad at me. But, unless you're like a Super Bowl fanatic and you're trying to figure out the LMXXII, Roman numerals are really nice to know. But they're not like essential need to know standards. So I'm hoping that makes sense to you guys. That's what we're going to go after. We're calling it accelerating learning. We're going to get after that. And what we know is that our students are very resilient. So as we start to identify learning gaps or maybe holes that might have happened from last year in March, some things over summer, we always lose some of the stuff that we've learned, then we're going to go after and really nail in and focus on those. And then there are essential skills. So as we move forward with distance learning, that'll be some of the things that you will see. Our goal is ultimately to create systems and structures that are going to honestly make the best of the time that we have here in this distance learning and try to do the very best that we can. So please know that that's what we got going as we move forward with distance learning. Parents, I want to tell you that we have a lot of resources out there for you guys that are going to be coming through, whether it's on our district website, on our school website. There are other parent trainings that are coming in, and some of them, guys, are as easy as how to manipulate the new tablets, how to manipulate the Chromebooks that we have sent home, to how to maybe best set up your learning center for your kiddo. There's a ton of different resources out there. I strongly recommend that you take a look at some of those and find something that might support what you guys feel that your needs are. Ultimately, you can always call the school site. I'm here pretty regularly. My email, hopefully you guys all have it. If you don't, it's michael.williams@desertsands.us. It's on our website and everything else. You can always reach out to me. Don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll try to fix anything that I possibly can or connect you with the right people. As we're in distance learning, guys, I got 5 basic tips. Now, I stole some of this, I'm not going to lie, from our Riverside County Superintendent, Dr. Judy White, but I really like the message, and then, I kind of carterized it, as I like to say. But I got 5 for you guys to help get through this. 1, help to establish and stick to a routine. Take it as if we're going to school every day. Get the kids up in the morning, have them get dressed, take a shower, whatever they do, have a nice breakfast, comb their hair, and then sit down and get ready to learn through our Zoom link or whatever it is in our morning meeting as the teachers have come through it. The more that we can keep the same as we're going to school, then the easier the transition will be when we get to go to a hybrid or ultimately when we get to open up. So try to keep those routines going. I think that will really help them as well as helping you. So, the idea that our kids get to wake up, and my own son, I'm just telling you, doesn't want to get up. He's like, I could just Zoom from my bed, Dad. And I'm no, now you're being principal, Dad. I'm telling you guys way too much. Keeping to that schedule really help. 2, check in regularly with your teacher. Every teacher has office hours. They all have emails. You can call the school and we'll try to put you in touch with them, but communicate regularly. Ask questions. Listen, we know that you don't have all this figured out. And quite honestly, we're learning new things every day. We've learned enough in these last 3 days that we're going to be looking at some things and how do we refine it and make it even better. But it's imperative that you guys, if you have questions, ask. And it could be anything about the schedule. Where do I find Zoom links? How do I log in? To what is Google Classroom? How do I get this? What assignments? When are they due? Please take advantage of that. The more you know, I think will help ease some of your frustrations, which I can only imagine, how challenging it can be, especially some of us that have multiple kids in multiple schools or even in multiple grade levels throughout. So make sure that you are asking questions, and then keep an eye out for different communications from teachers, whether it's something through that they send out a flyer or they're just communicating with you guys. The more we know, the easier things seem to be. 3 would be, you know what? You might take this silly, but encourage physical activity, you guys. Our kids are going to be sitting down and having a lot of screen time. They're going to be staring in front of their computers, and not just staring at computers, but actually thinking and using their intellect. That can be a little bit draining, and sometimes it can be a little bit much. So remember, when you get a break, remind your kids, stand up, stretch, do some jumping jacks, take your dog for a walk, whatever it takes. Have them get some movement. Next week we're going to start pushing in coach for some of the prep schedules, and he's going to have activities for all the grade levels to do, and some of you he's going to want the kids to go along with them. Unfortunately, I can't give you all the hula hoops and jump ropes that I'd like to see, but movement's important. So our goal is about 60 minutes a day of just getting up and getting going, especially when you've been sitting at a computer for so long. It'll ease some of those frustrations and anxiety, and just so get them moving. We think that that's going to be important. 4, resist the urge to sit in on all of the classes with your kids. I get it. I get it. As parents, we want to know what's going on, particularly our little ones. Like, if we don't, then how do we figure it out? We get all of that. And I'm not saying to not do it, but we also want to respect the kids' privacy. The kids, like when they're at school, that's a chance for them to be them and learn and try to figure things out on their own. That's important, right? That's that stimulation that's going on in the brain. They need to be able to problem solve on their own a little bit. I get it. Again, with our little ones, it's a little tougher, but just resist the urge to just kind of hover or always be in that background. And also respect the privacy of not only your kid, but all the other ones that are out there on a Zoom meeting. Because, kids can say the darndest things, and we want to respect some of that. So again, I'm not telling you not to pay attention, because we want you to know what's going on, but that would be one where sometimes it can just add to some of the frustration. And 5, my last one, take care of you. This one is, like, for me personally as a dad, this is probably the hardest one, and the one that I struggle with the most, to be perfectly honest. But I think it's imperative that we take care of ourselves. It's important to find some me time, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes, that you're just locked away, or you go for a walk or go out in the backyard. Of course, not today, it's kind of yucky out, but it's imperative that we do that just for our own sanity and to keep peace of mind. We all have struggled through a lot of this. The idea that we've been locked down for so long, that we're under quarantine, that we're not getting to go out and go to our favorite restaurants or go to a movie theater or something like that. All of that is taking its toll. And I can tell you that firsthand as a father as well. My own kid, who is now a junior in high school, like, I'm really starting to see that it's having an impact. So I'm really, as a dad, I'm having to really work to find some different outlets for them. But it's the same thing for us as adults, right? We have to be okay with coming back and taking some time to ourselves. When the kids are little, put them to bed early, go find your favorite TV show and just chill out or hang out with some friends, get on FaceTime, but that'll help address some of the social emotional with you guys. And honestly, it'll take away some of the frustrations. Not entirely, you guys. I think we're all going to get frustrated, and if you haven't already, and if you didn't Wednesday, I can pretty much guarantee you there will be a day as we progress through this where something doesn't go right, or something you don't understand. Don't let it get you frustrated. That's where it goes back to what I said earlier. Reach out to the teacher, find out what we're talking about, find out what the expectations are, ease the frustration, right? Give yourselves a little bit of grace. We are very understanding of all the challenges that everybody's facing, and empathetic to it. And our teachers are working their tails off to try to figure all this out and do the very best they can. So take care of yourself. And I know this sounds very cliche, but we need to work together now more than ever. Everything that I've started, everything that I wanted to see happen here at the school site from a cultural standpoint is that we approach everything as a community, that we approach everything as grade level teams, that we approach everything with that our kids need kids first always. Remember, we're all in this together, you guys. Our teachers, this is new for them too. They were thrown into the mix last year by no fault of their own, tried a lot of different things. Now all of a sudden, I'm saying, look, has to happen. We need to have face-to-face interaction with our kiddos. We need to have rigorous activities. We need to have lesson plans that we're going and taking our kids through the most basic of needs and foundational skills. So it's a lot. So be empathetic to that too. When you're frustrated or if something happens, give yourself some grace, but I'm going to ask that you give our teachers some grace too, because I guarantee you they are working harder than they ever have. Any teacher that you talk to right now will tell you distance learning is not only is it different, but it's harder. It's harder to plan for, it's harder to prep for, it's harder to deliver, it's harder to keep kids engaged and motivated, because without student engagement, it doesn't matter, how good of a teaching lesson that you give. And then if we don't build relationships and understand the social emotional aspect of it, like I don't care how good the teacher is, we're not going to be able to get in everything that we need to get into your kids' heads. So remember, guys, we're in this together. Work with each other. Give us some grace, and we will figure it out. If you're not sure of something, ask. Don't be afraid. Don't hesitate to email me. Call the school. Our front office ladies, huge kudos to them. I gotta say, they have been working. They have turned into tech people on top of everything else. Correcting problems with Chromebooks and email passwords and everything that goes with it. They've been great. So if you see them, thank them. And then let's just keep going, guys. We will figure all of this stuff out together as we go. And I'll leave it with the same thing that I tell our kids, right? When in doubt, choose kindness. We get it. We know that this isn't perfect and we're not going to be able to do everything right. But the way you approach your questions, the way you interact with some of the teachers, it's my mom used to always tell me, you'll catch more flies with honey than you will with vinegar. And I think you know what I'm talking about when I say that. Understand everybody's working hard to meet the needs of your kiddos, and we will continue to do so. So more of this to come. I wanted to send this out. This is a message for you, the parents that I know are working just as hard as all of this. This is all new, whether you're a working mom or a non-working mom or working dad, non-working dad, guardian, grandmas are in the mix. We appreciate everything that you guys are doing. We understand this is a challenge for all of us. But I promise you, and again, a little cliche, the more we work together, the more we'll get through this and figure all of this stuff out. With that, you guys, happy Friday. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and we jump in it again on Monday, and we will continue to refine and figure all of this stuff out and make it as very best use of our time as we possibly can. And then let's hope and let's work as a group and a community, heck, as a Coachella Valley, to get a hold of this coronavirus, make this thing go away, get our numbers down so that we can open, because we're doing everything right to keep the school safe. The school's cleaner than it probably ever has been. We're sanitizing every day. We think we're ready for kids, but we want to make sure that we can do it safely. That's bottom line. And if we can't do it safely, then I'm the first one to say we're not ready for it. But ultimately, we want our kids back. So work with us, all the stuff that we need to go. And I can't wait until we can have some parent socials. I know our PTO has been working hard. I'm looking forward to seeing all of that. I'm looking forward to all the hugs and high fives that we get from our kiddos. And I know no hugs, and we'll be like elbows. I'll teach them some new dance moves. But that's where we're at, you guys. Again, happy Friday. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great day. I know this went a little long, but I look forward to seeing everybody soon. Have a good day.